Hello there, and welcome back to In Trouble with True Crime Sisters. We are two sisters who are both interested in true crime. One researches and writes, while the other one records and do all the boring stuff. Fuck the person who wrote this. Well, anyway, today we have a double episode for you guys. As there's very little information on these cases, we have decided to make an episode with two separate cases. Both these killers are Norwegian, and the crimes happened in Norway. I think it's safe to say that the most famous Norwegian killers are Belle, Gunness, and Andreas Breivik. Belle moved to the US in 1881, where she would marry as well as lure men with the promise of marriage and then rob and kill them. Andreas Breivik is the young man who killed 77 people in 2011 in a terrorist attack in Oslo. But these are not the killers we are here to talk about. Let me introduce to you Arnfin Nesset. He was born on the 28th of October in 1936 in Trøndelag. He was born into a poor family and out of wedlock. He grew up with his mother and his grandparents. He never knew his father and never had a relationship with him. The house he grew up in was very small, but they had everything they needed. The house is no longer there, and if you try to find it, you'll mostly find trees. Now at this time in Norway, it was frowned upon if you had a baby outside of wedlock, and this is something that he would be reminded of growing up. He once said that his first impression he had with death was at 6 years old. A lady died 6 weeks after giving birth to her younger son. He remembered that there was so many flowers and everyone was flagging. We don't know a lot more about his childhood, but he grew up and became a nurse. By 1977, he was head nurse at a nursing home in a very much small town, I Orkdal. Here he was able to work in murder until 1981, when someone thought there was a lot of suspicious death, and the police were called. Now we cannot really call him an angel of death, as normally an angel of death is someone who thinks he's helping his victim to end their misery. They think that it's their own way. They are helping them by murdering them. The old people that Arnfin killed weren't like that. They were old, but not that old, and they were not on their deathbeds. He used a muscle relaxer to kill them. The drug is normally used to temporarily paralyze you when you go under general anesthesia. Since the drug was injected directly into people not hooked up by any air supply like a ventilator, they suffocated. When he was taken into questioning, he admitted to 27 murders. He did, however, change his mind later, when the police decided to charge him. Even in court he denied it all. In the end, he was charged with 25 murders, but only sentenced for 22 murders, one attempt of murder. The trial lasted 5 months, and in the end, he got 21 years in prison. Now you might wonder, why 21? It does not sound like a lot, does it? This is the maximum punishment you can get in Norway. Hang on. And I know what you're thinking, but what about the guy who tried to blow up a building in Oslo and kill all those kids? Did he also only receive 21 years for murdering that many? Yes, he did. However, the state reserves the right to extend it or send you to a mental hospital if you're not deemed safe to be released. He will spend the rest of his sad, miserable life in prison. Unlike Arnfin, he was released after 12 years because of good behavior. And who knows, maybe he is still alive out there, somewhere in Norway. Let us know what you think of this guy, or if you actually had heard of him before. Now we'll move to our next psychopath, Nils Narumseie. Born in January 1808. With the name Nils Narumseie, but also known as Nils Narumseie. He came from Øystadøya in Hov in Uppland. As a child and grow up, he had a bit of a reputation for stealing and carrying grudges, something people suspected his mother thought him as a child. Neither one of them were very popular. One night on January 1833, 8 people died in their house. Not only were they all killed, but the house was also burned down. The names of the 8 people are Lars Østensen, 41 years old, his wife Ellen Maria Olsdatter, their child Ole Andreas Larsen, Maria Larsdatter, 2.5-year-old Karin Larsdatter, 3 months. The older couple, who was also the owners of the house, Peder Mikkelsen, 74 years old, and his wife Inger Marie Madsdatter, 70 years old, and Helene Pedersdatter, who was only 9 years old. Helene was kind of a foster daughter to Peder and Inger Marie, as they had no children of their own. And if you're wondering why don't really any of these people, except a few of the children, have the same last name? Well, back in most of the Scandinavian countries, you would not take your parents' last name. You would take the first name of the father and add either daughter or son behind it. So the father's name is Lars, and daughter Marie is Lars' daughter, therefore Larsdatter, which translates to Lars' daughter. This is why there's so many Johanssons around the world. It would once have been Johans son, which makes the name Johansson. Let's get back to the story. The whole thing started in 1832 when he stole a silver pocket watch from an auction. It was Lars who found the watch after doing some investigation, and it seemed like Nils had sold the watch for cash. The watch was identified as the stolen watch, and it was being kept at the house of Lars Østensen during the investigation. The suspicion was falling on Nils, and he was interrogated around the 20th or 21st of January, when everyone was asleep except Ellen Maria. There was a man who came to the door. He opened it and just stood there. She tried to talk to him, but he then left. She told her husband Lars and a few neighbors that she thought it was Nils. Nils wanted revenge from Lars, suspecting him on stealing the watch. This was not the first time, and was scared if he was arrested this time, he would have to spend a longer time in jail. So during the night of 24th of January in 1833, he went to the house of Lars, armed with his brother's axe. When he found the front door unlocked, he went upstairs. He first hit Lars and then killed his wife Ellen Maria. There was an older couple sleeping in a room close by, which he killed next. Lars had managed to run upstairs to the attic while Nils was on his killing spree. Sadly, Nils found him and killed him. Then the 4 adults were killed. He moved to the children. He killed all 4 children with the axe. One of them was the daughter of the older couple, Mikkelsen. She had tried to hide under the stairs. When morning came, the 24th of January, he had killed 8 people and ransacked the house for the pocket watch. He could not find it, so he took a small comb, calico, and a small purse with 6 especiade. He then set fire to the house and ran home. And when he arrived home, his ever-loving mother helped him hide the stolen goods, as his poor wife was told to keep quiet. Luckily for everyone around him, he was arrested on February 3rd. He confessed to the police. He even told them that it was the pocket watch he was looking for. He was sentenced to death, and he was decapitated in September the same year. He was brought from Akershus Fort, or Akershus Fortress, as you would translate it to. It is mentioned that he brought some cakes for his daughter Petrine. He was surrounded by 300 men from his own battalion, and Anton Ladil was his executor. He tried with the axe 4 times before he gave up and used it as a knife to get his head off before they burned the body on the spot. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next episode.